Hello and welcome to Foz on the Tyne, adventures in Newcastle, Tyneside and beyond. I'm here by the banks of the River Tyne, the lifeblood of the region and the reason Newcastle exists. Now, there's nothing we Tynesiders like more than a good bridge. So much so that we built 7 of them in the space of just 1 mile. In fact, there's only one other town in Great Britain that has so many bridges in such a short space. Have a guess and see who you think it might be. I'll let you know by the end of the video. Join me and we're going to explore that route, that 1 mile between the bridges. Howie, let's go on an adventure. We're going to start our adventure at the far west end of the quayside, beside the River Bridge. This is the 3rd bridge to carry this name and was built in the 1980s and opened in 1983 by Princess Diana. It cost £15 million to build and it now carries road traffic from the A1 through Askew Road in Gateshead, across the 189 over the bridge and onto St James's Boulevard in the west end of Newcastle. Next up, we've got the King Edward VII Rail Bridge. Built in 1906 and opened in July of that year, although work wasn't completed until the October. It was opened by King Edward VII himself who came up to open the bridge. It was built primarily to deal with the increase in rail travel. At the time, the high level bridge was the only other rail bridge across the Tyne, and at its height, it was taking nearly 800 trains a day. Next up, it's the Queen Elizabeth Bridge, built for the Tyne and Wear Metro in 1978 and opened by Queen Elizabeth II. This bridge carries the Tyne and Wear Metro and it's also the source of my most favourite piece of toon trivia. Did you know that the tunnels either side of this Metro bridge are different shapes? That's because of local geology. The ones on the Newcastle side are circular and the ones across in Gateshead, they're square. We now come to the oldest bridge across the River Tyne, the High Level. This Victorian marvel was built in 1849 and designed by Robert Stephenson, the son of the great railway pioneer George Stephenson. It was opened by Queen Victoria and it was the first road and rail combined bridge of its type in the world. It even survived a disastrous fire in 1866. Unfortunately, it started to get a little bit worse for wear, and these days it only takes bus traffic and taxis as well as local trains, but it's still something of a local marvel. Prior to the building of the high level bridge, if you wanted to travel up the east coast on the main railway line, you had to get off your train at Gateshead, travel by carriage across to Newcastle and then continue your northbound journey. Now people often ask me, "Here, Foz, which is your favourite bridge?" I'm joking, of course, nobody ever asks me that, but if they did, I'd tell them it was this one, the Swing Bridge. The Swing Bridge is a piece of Victorian engineering genius. It was built by Lord William Armstrong and powered by hydraulics. It rotated at the centre to allow large ships to go upstream. Unfortunately, these days the hydraulics have seized up and the bridge itself hasn't opened since 2019. Fingers crossed that that's something that gets rectified very, very soon. The Swing Bridge sits on the site of the original Tyne Bridge, going all the way back to Roman times. Pons Aelius was built here in 122 AD and was overseen by a Roman fortress up on the hill where the castle keep now stands. In time, this bridge was replaced by a medieval bridge in 1270 and another bridge in 1781, the remnants of which can still be seen here in the foreground, just on the lead up to the Swing Bridge. And here it is, the star of the show, the famous Tyne Bridge, recognisable the world over. Built in 1928, started in 1925. Yes, it does look very like the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Now, we built ours quicker than they did. That's probably because theirs is 4 times the size of ours. Both bridges, however, owe their design to the Hellgate Bridge in New York. Now, something we Geordies like to keep quiet. See all that steel building that bridge? Yeah, that's all from Middlesbrough. There's 800,000 rivets in that. I'm not entirely sure why you'd need to know that or when you're going to use it, but there you go. And officially, the paint colour, that's Holly Bush Green. The Tyne Bridge was opened in October 1928 by King George V. Now our dear old friend there has seen better days and is currently undergoing a massive repair programme. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll be all spick and span, ready for the centenary in 2028. On the south side of the Tyne Bridge is Bottle Bank in Gateshead. Now you see those huge stone blocks there? Well, when they built the bridge, they started in 1925. It was the same year they were demolishing the old Newcastle prison. So those blocks, they've all been repurposed and they're from the original Newcastle jail. And here it is, the final bridge on our little walk, the Gateshead Millennium Bridge, also known locally as the Blinking Eye. It was opened in September 2001 and officially dedicated by Queen Elizabeth II on the 7th of May 2002. The bridge itself was built down the river in Wallsend and lifted into place by a giant floating crane, the Asian Hercules II. The Millennium Bridge cost £22 million. And the money? Well, that was all raised by Gateshead. The Millennium Bridge is another piece of architectural brilliance. It tilts and allows ships to pass underneath it and opens and closes like a blinking eye. You see, earlier in the video, I asked you if you could name another town in Britain that had as many as 7 bridges along the river within the course of a mile. Newcastle, obviously, 7 bridges within the course of a mile. The answer to the question? Well, that's Gateshead. Although, on the Gateshead side, we would challenge that with a technicality. You see, Newcastle's got 6, Gateshead's got 7, because that's the Gateshead Millennium Bridge. Legend has it that when Gateshead were putting together the funding for the new bridge, Newcastle didn't want any part of it. And so if you go to the very far north end of the bridge, across as a foot passenger, you'll notice that it doesn't touch on the north side. Now, some boring people might claim that that's just an expansion joint, but technically it's Gateshead's bridge, not Newcastle's. So there you have it. 7 bridges across the River Tyne in the space of a mile. I hope you've learned something from the video, and you please feel free to drop me a like, subscribe, or drop a comment below the video. It would be great to have a little bit of interaction with you. This is me, Foz, signing off for now. Gan canny.